the hockey community, for the city itself, and certainly for those that go back to when they actually won a Stanley Cup. But that didn't matter. I think he was so much more than just a former player, someone that had won a Stanley Cup that most people, quite honestly, of a certain age group just don't remember. But they did a nice job, so courtesy of our friends at Sportsnet, this was the ceremony they did last night at the ACC.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise if you're able to? Remove your hats and join us in a moment of silence to honor the life of the great Johnny Bower.
The whole family out there, by the way, along with players like Dave Keon and George Armstrong, hand in hand, and they'll look at the statue of Johnny outside the building.
Thank you.
The banner and then the tribute video that we're going to play.
I do want to say it's good to glad that we're winning Stanley Cup again for the city of Toronto. I certainly feel that they deserve it. They're wonderful fans, and I hope we can do it again next year. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
On November 8th, 1924, in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Johnny Bower was born. The second of 9 children, no brothers, 8 sisters. When he was just 14, he lied about his age and enlisted in the Army with the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders. During World War II, he would spend 2 years in England before returning home to Saskatchewan in 1944. 14 years later, on June 3rd, 1958, Johnny Bower was claimed by the last-place Maple Leafs from the Cleveland Barons in the AHL Interleague Draft. But he didn't want to go. I kept telling them I couldn't help them, but they warned me if I didn't sign, they would suspend me. That fall, after playing 12 years in the American Hockey League, the winningest goalie in AHL history would be in Maple Leaf blue and white. At age 33, he was instantly the oldest player on the team. In fact, for every game of his 12 seasons in Toronto, he would always be the oldest on the team. And for his final 10 seasons, he was the oldest player in the league. Of course, Johnny preferred to play without the protection of a mask, at times intentionally blocking shots with his face and thwarting oncoming attackers with his signature poke check before they could even begin their assault on the Toronto net. Johnny explained his style simply as this: I just made up my mind that I was going to lose my teeth and have my face cut to pieces. Johnny's career accomplishments are impressive and weave their way through one of the most beloved eras in the franchise's history. A 4-time Stanley Cup champion, he would drink from the cup in 62, 63, and 64 when he told the Garden's fans after the final game that the city of Toronto deserves the Stanley Cup more than anybody else. Then in 1967, as part of the oldest team that has ever won, or likely ever to win the Stanley Cup, Johnny won his 4th. After 67, Johnny would suit up for 3 more seasons before retiring at age 45. Since then, he has filled the roles of goalie coach, practice goalie, scout, and for team Christmas parties, yes, Santa Claus. Along the way, Johnny has made more appearances in our community than any Maple Leafs player in history. He most certainly holds the record for standing ovations at Air Canada Centre. As engaged in his 94th year as he was when he arrived in Toronto in 1958, Johnny has always treated every fan as if they were the first that ever wanted to shake his hand. Always gracious, always wondering what all the fuss was all about. Johnny was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1976. His number 1 was raised to the rafters of Maple Leaf Gardens in 1995 and was permanently retired 21 years later. 2014, he became one of the inaugural members of Legends Row, and in our centennial season, he was selected 7th as a part of the 100 greatest Leafs in team history. King Clancy once said of his friend, "Bower is a great credit to the game. Of all the people who are in the Hall of Fame, there is no one more worthy than Johnny Bower. He has been one of the most honest and conscientious players produced. He is in a class by himself as a person." There may not be a more loved Toronto Maple Leaf, nor a former player who loved them as much back.
The first star, Johnny Bower.
Number one in your program for every game he ever played. Johnny will remain number one in the hearts of generations of Leafs fans forever. Maple Leaf family, one more time, please rise to your feet if you can and give our Johnny one more standing ovation.
That was so well done. That was magnificent by a guy who actually was really a friend of Johnny Bowers. And that, of course, Joe Bowen. We'll hear from him one more time before the show is over.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep.